Beside me, I have the new RedRush 400 pulsed red light therapy panel. This panel is from the company called Red Therapy. It's a company that's been around for a while. I'm really excited to test, share my feedback and thoughts, and compare this product to other panels on the market. Let's get into it. Hey guys, Alex here from alexfergus.com, and yes, in this video I am reviewing the RedRush 400 from Red Therapy. I'll put links to this product down below and all the other panels that I mentioned. Be sure to subscribe, leave any questions, comments, and check out my other reviews if you want to do that as well. So in this video, I'll be following my standard red light therapy panel review template. I'll talk about the new features, we'll have a look at it. I'll get out my spectrometer, EMF meter, sound meter, and we'll do some quantitative testing. I'll compare it to some other panels in the similar sort of space. I'll compare it to other panels within the Red Therapy product line, and then share my thoughts and feedback. Is this something that you should consider? Are there better options? What do I like? What do I don't like? Okay, so the RedRush 400 is produced by a company called Red Therapy, or Red Therapy Co. Now, this company has actually been around for a few years now. In fact, their original panel, their RedRush 720, I think it was called, featured in my 2019 comparison series. There was only 6 companies back then. 1 or 2 have dropped out of this space. So like I said, they have been around for some time. Now, they did do a bit of an update on that RedRush 720 with their Pro line. It included a built-in timer and a few other slight tweaks. I wasn't able to get my hands on that Pro line for my most recent comparison series, so I actually included the RedRush 720. It didn't do too well because, like I said, it was a little bit outdated and lacking some key features. So this new pulse panel, this new generation of panels from Red Therapy is quite exciting because it's coming from a company that has been around for a while, but it's incorporating some new features, mainly the pulsing technology, plus a few others, which we'll get to soon. So at the time of recording, Red Therapy only have their 133 LED RedRush 400, which is what I have here, but they are working on a large one. I'm guessing that will be more of a full body sized panel. This particular panel here, it's a tricky one because I want to call it a tabletop panel. It comes, well, I also have the stand here, which we'll also look at later. But typically the tabletop panels that I review are around, 50 to maybe 100 LEDs. So this at 133 is a little bit larger, but it does kind of, it may suit some people given the size. You're getting a better treatment area without having to have a full body panel that you have to hang, because you can use this on these stands. So as given away by the name, the new pulse panel incorporates 4 pulse wavelengths. You can simply change between the pulse light by hitting a button here. You have the option between 40 Hertz, 20 Hertz, 10 Hertz, or just continuous, always on. So that is a neat feature. I know Juve have their 10 Hertz pulse light panel. LightPath LED have a panel where you can choose any pulse rate between 1 and 10,000, I think it is. So this is obviously a little bit limited when compared to the LightPath LED panel, but gives you more options than the Juve panel. And of course, there's only a few companies now that have pulse panels on the market, or pulse light, sorry, on the market. So it is a neat addition from Red Therapy. So what else has been updated in this new generation of panels from Red Therapy? Well, Red Therapy also state that they have redesigned the panel with an iron-based internal EMF blocking cage. And now this is meant to produce ultra-low EMF levels. I will be testing this later. It will be interesting because, yeah, the original RedRush wasn't the best on the EMF front, so hopefully they've improved on that. They have also incorporated curved edges, which is not necessarily new for the red light therapy space, but is for this company's products. And it also has a nice little carry handle at the back, which I do like. You can also see the built-in timer and the control panel on the front here, and we'll be taking a closer look at that shortly. Finally, Red Therapy have upgraded the clarity and quality of the glass lens, and that's meant to produce a more powerful and even light coverage. So again, I'll be testing the power very soon as well, so hang around for that. Okay, so what about price? Well, it retails for $575 US. You can use discount code Alex, that will save you $25, brings the price down to $550. I checked out the shipping rates. It's free within America, so if you live in America, you can get this to your door for $550 US. And I put in an address for an Australian customer and also a UK customer. And shipping rates worked out to be $71 for both those addresses. So I don't know if it's a flat rate $71 internationally or if it was just coincidence, but $71, not too bad. I've been hearing some stories of people paying, you know, $200, $300 to get some of these red light therapy panels shipped to their door. So 70 bucks, but free in the States. All right, so let's come in and have a closer look at the panel now. As I mentioned, it is, well, it's kind of like a mid-size panel or a tabletop panel, 133 LEDs. Typically, I call my body panels 150 to 300 LEDs, so it's not quite a body panel based on that classification. The LEDs are split between 660 and 850. There's no multi-wave technology here. It's just your two basic, well, conventional, traditional LEDs. They do offer pulsing in that near-infrared range though, which is one big exception. But remember, there is the pulsed light in the near-infrared range, which is neat. It weighs 13 pounds, it is just over 9 inches across, 23 inches tall, and 3.5 inches thick. Two fans on the back, like I said earlier, that carry handle, the power point on the side. Up the top, you've got some hooks for hanging it, so if you want to hang it from a hook or a door hanger or anything like that. There's no rubber feet on the back, so this isn't necessarily designed to be leant against the wall or even really hung from the wall, though you do have some very little rubber feet on this mounting bracket, which can be removed, by the way. But this panel is designed really to be used on the stand. Now, there are two stand options and they're actually rather well priced. Behind me I have the Floor Stand Pro, and it sells for $75. You can also get the desk stand, which is $57. The desk stand is pretty much exactly the same, it's just not as high. Now the panel itself doesn't support modular capability, so you couldn't get two of these, or you couldn't get the larger 800 when that comes out and clip them together. It doesn't support that, which is a bit of a bummer, but it's not a total deal breaker, especially if you're looking at these panels for a tabletop, you know, desktop use. You're probably not going to be too worried about the modular capability. Okay, so what comes in the box with the panel? You get a power cable, and it came with a local plug for me, which is great here in New Zealand. You get some metal hanging clips. These go on the top, so you could hang them from a hook. It comes with an adjustable pulley, which is your 1/8. So it's the smaller pulley. If you don't know what I'm talking about here, I'll put a link to my video on different types of pulleys. You've got some screws. I'm not 100% sure what they were for. You have this door hanging hook, so that goes over the door, and then you can hang the panel from the hook like so. You have these glasses, which are kind of like a black-green sort of hue. And then you have this one-page, I don't know what I want to call it. It's not a manual, a little info guide. You know, anyone that's watched my videos knows that I really appreciate panels and companies that have printed manuals in the box, especially if it's your first time with red light therapy panels. Oh, and one thing I should mention, there's a 2-year warranty on this panel. It's not the best in the market, but it's not the worst either. The company has been around for quite some time now, so it's not one of these new companies just to hit the scene, and who knows if they're going to be still in business in 6 months' time. I do trust the company, and I'm sure the product will be good as well. Okay, now what I'm going to do is test the power output for this panel. I'm going to test the wavelengths, the irradiance. I'm also going to test EMF, sound, and do some calculations to get total wattage. So I'm going to get into that now. Okay, so I have all the data now. Remember that this panel was marketed as a 660 and 850 nanometer panel. What was interesting is, yes, the peak wavelengths are pretty much bang on those listed wavelengths, so that is good. But there was quite a wide range in the red light. So we were seeing quite a lot of energy between 648 through to 664. So you're getting, you know, if you're someone that wants a panel that's emitting a lot of 650 nanometer light for whatever reason, you're going to get that in this, as well, of course, as the 660 and the 850, so that was good. Now, in terms of peak power, we had a peak 6-inch reading in the center of 64 milliwatts over centimeter squared, so a decent number. Of course, it's not, you know, market leading with the 80s or 90s that we've seen with the platinum LEDs and the Mito Reds, but 64 is a decent number. We had an average number over 9 points of 50 milliwatts over centimeter squared. We had quite a nice even spread of light as well. As I was moving around, I wasn't seeing big ups and downs. It was quite even, which is what you want in a panel. Now I crunched the numbers and I came out with a total power output of 40 watts. So that gives you a metric knowing that you're getting 40 watts of therapeutic red light from this panel. There was no flicker in regular mode on this panel. Of course, when I put it into pulsing, then of course you would see those pulse rates. The pulsing is only in the near infrared. You don't get the red light pulsing. Now I know this is what Juve do. And I think it may be because the pulsed red light can potentially be, you know, stressful and cause seizures. So that may be why they're not doing that. LightPath LED didn't do that, but they just have a lot of warnings. So there's 4 pulse rates, like I said earlier. You've got your 10 hertz, which is your alpha wave, 20 hertz, your beta wave, and 40 hertz, which is your gamma wave. I still don't know much about the pulse stuff. Maybe you do. If you do, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay, so now we've got all those numbers. I could do some value sums. The discounted dollar per LED was $4.13. That means you're paying $4.13 to get 1 LED after using discount code ALEX. But the more important metric, especially for comparing this panel with other panels, is the dollar per total watt output. So in this case, with the RedRush 400, you're paying $13.75 to get 1 watt of therapeutic red light. To put that in perspective, the DermaBeam panel, tabletop panel that I tested recently, that had a dollar figure of $33 per watt, which is a lot higher than this. Remember, the lower the better. However, when I compare it to the Huga Health panel, their tabletop panel, that had a figure of $9.50, which was actually one of the best and lowest figures that I've tested across any panel. So $13 here for the RedRush is a good figure. It means it's a well-priced, well-powered panel. So yeah, that's, I guess, the key takeaways from this section. Hey, so before I get into the EMF and sound figures, I just wanted to do a quick shout out to PerformanceLab Energy. Now, this is a supplement that I've been taking recently to help improve my energy. Funny that. However, it's not your typical energy supplement. There's no caffeine in this, there's no stimulants, no nootropics, no ingredients that are gonna give you a ton of energy, but then leave you wanting to nap 2 or 3 hours later. This works at a cellular level. The main ingredients in this supplement are CoQ10 and PQQ. Now, both of those ingredients have been shown to help optimize and multiply cells' mitochondria, which are the power plants in a cell, and also to boost ATP production, which is what the energy that the cell runs off. When I first embarked on my health and wellness journey, CoQ10 and PQQ were 2 ingredients that really stood out in the research and really were shown to help improve underlying health and energy. That's why PerformanceLab Energy, with these 2 ingredients plus a few others, is now a staple in my daily supplement stack. I'll put a link to it below, you can check it out, and I'll learn more at the link below. Okay, so now what about the EMF levels? Like I said at the start of this video, Red Therapy have redesigned or re-engineered the panel. They've used an iron casing, which is meant to minimize or eliminate EMF. Well, I can tell you now that, yeah, the EMF levels were good. There was no electric field readings, which was a problem in their first gen panel, so good to see there. The magnetic was a nice low green reading on my Cornet meter as well. So good job, no concerningly high dangerous EMF levels on this front, so good to know. On the sound front, I had a reading of 57.5 decibels at 6 inches. So that puts it about mid-pack, and there's not really too much to comment on. All right, now it's time to look at the operation of this panel. Okay, so you can see here, it's a rather simple setup. Power cord goes in the side here. There's nothing on the back to switch on or off, and there are no power points on the side either. Okay, so now we come in closer, we can see this control panel. The buttons here are touch sensitive, I guess you'd call them. There's no physical movement of the button or vibration or anything like that. I personally aren't a big fan of buttons like this on any device, but hey, they work. They're quite sensitive, so they're easy to use. So one press of the power button there and you see the timer comes on. Defaults to 10 minutes. Plus and minus, you can change the time. It goes all the way up to 30, I believe. Oh no, it goes beyond 30. Actually, I think this goes to 60, so I'm not going to go all the way. But yeah, that's quite neat. Usually we see a limit at 20 or 30 minutes. The white is quite neat, quite big, I guess, if you're using it. Well, I mean, it's easy to see, isn't it? So plus and minus, all simple there. And then you've got your R and your N. So there's no start button or play button. It's a little bit confusing. For some people, they'll may trip up on this, because if you hit R, the timer starts and the red light starts shining, as you can see there. But some people may forget that they also have to turn on the near infrared, which is, I don't know, it might have been better to put like a little start or play button here, and then you could select which lights you wanted. Or if you hit play, by default, they both come on. Because I wouldn't be surprised if some people use this panel only doing red light and never using red light, the near infrared light. So to use the near infrared light, you just press the N button. Of course, we can't see the near infrared light, it's invisible, but it is working. Now, if I press the N button again, it changes between the pulse rates. So we've got 10 Hertz, 20 Hertz, 40 Hertz, or off, of course, or back to on. So you have to have that running and then the red light running to get both of them working. And as you can see in the bottom of the screen here, every second LED is red and the alternative ones are near infrared. Rather straightforward. The timer counts down. What is interesting though is if I turn them both off, the timer keeps going. It would have been nice to see that paused if no lights were going. So you have to hit the plus or minus to reset it. It's not a deal breaker or anything like that. Actually, that's a bit silly. It just starts automatically. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. Okay, that's confusing. Well, I guess if you want to stop it and restart it, you just turn it off and turn it back on. There we go. So yeah, it all works rather smoothly. Like I said though, it could be a little bit better. I also want to look at the stand here. Now, this stand is rather simple to use. It only took me a few minutes to assemble. On the back, you put this bracket, screws in like so. Then it simply clicks on to whatever height you want, and you can adjust the angle to tilt it down or up. If you want it nice and high, you can easily do that. If you want it nice and low, you can do that as well. And I also noticed on the website, you can turn it horizontally. I guess all you'd have to do that is put the bracket on the other way. I don't think there's any quick way to do that. No, you would have to unscrew it and then remount it. But that would allow you to use the panel like so, which is pretty neat. And the stand does look quite nice. It is a decent metal glass sort of build, especially for the price, you know, $70 odd, you get a neat little stand here. So good job, Red Therapy. Of course, that is an extra, but if you are buying one of these panels, I'd probably recommend getting the stand as well. Okay, so how does the RedRush 400 compare to other panels? Well, first we'll look at other panels from Red Therapy. Now, remember their larger panel, the RedRush 800 or 840, I think it might be called. The 840 Pulse is due out later this year. I don't know anything about LED count or price, so I can't read into too much on that. However, you could also check out the RedRush 360 Pro. Now, this is $475 after discount code Alex, so a little bit cheaper than this one. However, you don't get the pulse light. It's an older generation panel, so there might be some EMF issues in there still. Older design. I think you're better off spending the extra money and getting the new one, especially with these nice stands. What about panels from other players? Well, it's interesting doing a comparison because this size is quite unique. 133 LEDs. Typically we see your 60, 70s, your smaller panels, or your body panels 150 upwards. So kind of sits in the middle there. But I did look at some other common panels or popular panels and some that I've reviewed recently. So the Huga Pro 300, I recently reviewed that, has a really good review, a great panel, great price. That was only $270, which is amazing value, really. It's a lot cheaper, but it's also a lot smaller. It was only 60 LEDs, so half the size than the 400 here. The Juve Mini, another tabletop panel, that was also 60 LEDs, but that comes in about $1,000 plus taxes. So yeah, it's really hard to justify that purchase. The Juve panel, I included that though because that does include pulse light. It's only the 10 Hertz though. This here has your 10, your 20, and your 40, so it's a lot cheaper, more LEDs, and more pulsing options. So Mito Red have their tabletop panel. It's their Mito Pro 300. I'll be reviewing that as well, so be sure to subscribe. It's just turned up, so I'll be reviewing that next month, or this month, and it'll be out next month. Be sure to subscribe for that. That's only got 60 LEDs, but again, comes in at a great price, $250, and that includes the stand. So Exceptional value. Of course, you're getting a much smaller panel though. Or you could look at Mito Red and go with their Mito Pro 750, which has 150 LEDs. So that's actually a little bit bigger than this and comes out at $650. You know, so it's a tricky one. Like if you want the bigger panel, then yeah, I mean, you might be better off getting those larger panels. Of course, this size comes with a neat stand, and you could set this on your office desk or, you know, your bathroom makeup table or something like that. If you're going much bigger though, it's going to get a bit awkward. Finally, there is one panel that is quite similar to this in terms of size, and that is the Platinum LED Biomax 300. The Biomax 300 has 100 LEDs. It sells for $530 and costs $100 for their stand. So you're actually spending a little bit more than this panel to get something that's a bit smaller. But the Biomax has multi-wave technology. You're getting 5 wavelengths instead of 2 in this. You're getting a really nice touchscreen control panel. Plus it supports modular capability, so you can sync up multiple panels or clip multiple panels together. So there's a few things going for it. However, the Biomax doesn't have the pulse light, which is what the Red Therapy does have. The Biomax is known for their high power, good reliability. They've been around for a long time and great value. So it is you know, some people, if you want pulse light in a panel of this size, then this is going to be the winner. If you're not too phased about pulse light and you want multi-wave light, then you're probably going to check out the Biomax. But overall though, this Red Therapy RedRush 400 is quite a unique, good value, good powered, well-built panel. There's nothing here that really stands out as being drastically bad, or there's no concerning EMF issues that we've seen with other Red Therapy company panels in the past. There's no operation features that I'm saying, hey, don't buy it because of this. There's nothing really to say, look, this is a bad panel, because it's not. It's a really good panel, and it comes in at a really great value. We saw the value metrics before, and there was nothing wrong with them. We have good power readings. We have safe EMF levels. Easy to use, a really good stand that comes at a great price if you are wanting this as a tabletop panel. I think it's going to do well. The only thing that could potentially limit sales for this particular company, and it may turn you off, is its size. It might be a little bit too big for some. Some people might be wanting a pulsed LED tabletop red light therapy panel and be really attracted to this. Simple to use, the timer on the front, nice cheap stands that works well, but then they see the size and they think, you know, I don't really want that on my desk. I only want to target my face or whatever it may be. And so they may be put off. And I almost wish it was a little bit smaller, maybe 100 LEDs, 80 LEDs. And I think it could, of course, the price would come down as well. I think it could really, really shine then. But some people might want the larger panel, in which case, hey, this is going to do great. I think Red Therapy have done a great job with their new pulse line. I'm really excited to see their larger one and do some testing on that. And I can't really fault it. What are your thoughts? Is this the panel you've been looking for? Would you consider it? If not, which panels would you consider instead? I'm keen to hear your thoughts and feedback. By the way, if you've enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to check out more of my videos. If you have any questions about this, how to use it, or anything in particular, leave them below as well, and I'll do my best to answer it. And again, if you are going to purchase one of these panels, be sure to use discount code ALEX. It will save you $25, and it gives me a little bit back to help continue doing these videos for you guys. All right, I'm going to sign off now, and we'll see you next time. Bye.